Many years ago, a man named Daniel lived in a small town deep in the woods with his wife and son, Andrew. Welcome to our channel. So you don't miss the next story, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Daniel was a man with a difficult temper, who was often irritated by little things. He used to go hunting in the forest and spend hours alone, not caring about his family. On a hunting day, Daniel took his son Andrew with him. They walked for hours, but suddenly, the father left his son alone in the middle of the woods and left. Andrew cried and screamed and looked for his father but couldn't find him. He was alone in the forest for days without food or water. He tried to survive by eating roots and drinking water from nearby streams, but he soon began to feel weak and dizzy. Fortunately, Andrew was found by a group of hunters who were looking for prey in the forest. They were shocked to find the ragged, weak and malnourished boy alone in the woods. They took him home and nursed him back to health. When Daniel returned home to find his son had been found, he pretended to be relieved but showed no remorse for what he had done. Andrew was never the same after that incident. He became a withdrawn and lonely person, and never trusted his father again. Years later, Andrew has grown up and has a daughter named Emily. She was a sweet, kind girl who loved her father above all else. She'd always wondered why her grandfather never visited her, but Andrew avoided talking about him. One day, Emily accidentally discovered an old letter that her father had kept for years. The letter was from Daniel, her grandfather, apologizing to Andrew for what he had done in the forest. Emily was furious upon reading the letter and decided it was time to confront her grandfather for what he had done. She found Daniel's address and went to visit him. When she got there, she confronted her grandfather and asked for an explanation. Daniel was silent for a while, but then he confessed that he never regretted what he did to Andrew and that, in fact, he always considered himself a good father. Emily was horrified by her grandfather's words and decided he didn't deserve to live. She hanged him in her own house and ran away. She was captured by the police days later and confessed to the crime. Andrew was devastated by the news of his father's death and his daughter's arrest. He never imagined that something like this could happen to his family. He wondered if things would have been different if he had never been abandoned in the woods. Emily was tried and convicted of her grandfather's murder. She spent the rest of her life in prison, regretting what she had done. Andrew never saw his daughter again, but he continued to love her despite of everything that happened. He went on to dedicate his life to helping people who suffered trauma similar to what he experienced in the forest. He founded a non-profit organization that worked to help children who were abandoned or abused. He also wrote a book about his experience in the forest and how he overcame the pain of abandonment. Despite his noble work, Andrew was never able to fully overcome the pain of abandonment. He struggled with feelings of sadness and loneliness, and was never able to build lasting relationships. He wondered if his life would have been different if he had grown up in a more loving and secure environment. His father's death and his daughter's imprisonment only added to the pain Andrew carried with him. He felt guilty for not being able to protect his daughter from her own violent tendencies. He wondered if he himself had passed this tendency on to her, and if it could have been prevented somehow. Through it all, Andrew never lost hope that he could one day overcome his painful past. He continued to help people and to write about his experience in hopes that it might help someone who was going through what he was going through. He knew the pain would never completely go away, but he believed he could find a way to peace and happiness. And, deep down, he always held out hope that his daughter might one day find redemption. Since you stay here, tell us in the comments if you liked the story. Don't forget to like to help the channel, and if you're not subscribed, already take advantage and come and make part of the family history or truth. Until the next story.